In the vast and diverse tapestry of the African continent, one nation stands apart. It is a land of ancient mountains and deep valleys. It is a place where history is not just remembered, but lived. This nation is Ethiopia. It holds a unique and powerful story. While great empires rose and fell across the globe, Ethiopia remained steadfast. It resisted the tides of colonialism that swept across Africa. It forged its own path, guided by its own kings and its own faith. This is the story of Ethiopia's unyielding spirit. It is an account of how a nation became a symbol of freedom and resilience for an entire continent. Its independence was never a gift, it was earned through centuries of struggle and sacrifice. Ethiopia's tale is not one of isolation, but of proud self-reliance. It is a narrative deeply woven with threads of ancient civilization, profound religious conviction, and fierce military pride. Unlike its neighbors, it never fully succumbed to European colonial rule. This distinction is central to understanding its national character. The Ethiopian people carry this history in their hearts. It shapes their view of the world and their place in it. The country's very name evokes images of strength and endurance. It is a testament to the idea that a people united by a common heritage can withstand immense external pressures. This is why Ethiopia's journey is so compelling and so important for all to understand. It is a lesson in sovereignty. The story begins in antiquity, long before modern borders were drawn. It is a history that stretches back millennia, two powerful kingdoms that traded with Rome and Persia. This deep sense of historical continuity provided the foundation for a powerful national identity. The people knew they were part of something ancient and significant. This was not a new nation created by colonial administrators. It was a civilization with its own alphabet, its own calendar, and its own unique form of Christianity. These cultural pillars were the bedrock upon which the fortress of Ethiopian independence was built. They provided the social glue that held the nation together through its most difficult trials. This essay will explore the layers of time that make Ethiopia unique. We will journey back to the glory of the kingdom of Aksum. We will stand with the warriors at the pivotal Battle of Adwa. We will witness the defiance against a second invasion and the ultimate triumph of liberation. Through this exploration, we will see how these historical events forged a national psyche defined by pride and an unwavering commitment to self-determination. We will understand why Ethiopia is more than just a country on a map. It is an idea. It is the unyielding fortress of Africa, a lasting inspiration for peoples everywhere who cherish their freedom. The story of Ethiopia's independence begins in the ancient world. Long before the rise of modern nations, a great power emerged in the northern highlands. This was the kingdom of Aksum. It was a major player on the world stage around the time of the Roman Empire. Its influence stretched across the Red Sea into the Arabian Peninsula. Aksum was a hub of international trade. Merchants came from Egypt, Persia, and India. They sought its valuable exports like ivory, gold, and frankincense. The kingdom grew wealthy and powerful. It minted its own coins, a clear sign of its sovereignty and economic strength. Aksum was a beacon of civilization in the ancient Horn of Africa. The legacy of Aksum is not just one of trade and power. It is also a story of profound cultural and spiritual transformation. In the 4th century, King Ezana made a decision that would shape Ethiopia's destiny forever. He converted to Christianity. This was a monumental event. It made Aksum one of the first Christian kingdoms in the world. The new faith took deep root in the highlands. It blended with local traditions to create a unique form of worship, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. This church became the spiritual heart of the nation. It was a source of unity, identity, and resilience for centuries to come. The physical remnants of Aksum's greatness still stand today. The most famous are the giant stelae, or obelisks, that soar into the sky. These massive granite towers were carved from single stones. They are marvels of ancient engineering. They stand as silent witnesses to the power and sophistication of the Aksumite civilization. These monuments are more than just historical artifacts. They are powerful symbols of Ethiopia's ancient heritage. They remind the Ethiopian people of their long and glorious past. This connection to antiquity gives them a profound sense of continuity. It reinforces the idea that their nation is ancient and enduring. Even after the kingdom of Aksum declined around the 7th century, its legacy did not disappear. Its cultural, religious, and political traditions were carried forward. The center of power shifted south, but the idea of a unified Christian state remained. The spirit of Aksum lived on in the dynasties that followed. This continuity is a key reason for Ethiopia's unique path. While other empires crumbled and were forgotten, the core identity forged in Aksum was preserved. It was nurtured in the mountain monasteries and royal courts. It became the foundation upon which future generations would build their defense against all who challenged their sovereignty. The story of Ethiopian continuity finds its most powerful expression in the Solomonic dynasty. This legendary line of rulers claimed direct descent from the biblical King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. According to the national epic, the Kebra Nagast, the Queen of Sheba visited Solomon in Jerusalem. She returned to Ethiopia with their son, Menelik I. He is said to have brought the Ark of the Covenant with him to Ethiopia. This story is more than just a myth. It is the founding principle of the Ethiopian state for over 700 years. It established a divine right to rule that was almost unbreakable. The emperor was not just a political leader, he was God's chosen representative on earth. This belief in a sacred lineage provided immense stability and legitimacy. It united the diverse peoples of the Ethiopian highlands under a single divinely sanctioned authority. The emperor was the king of kings, the ultimate protector of the nation and its Christian faith. This Solomonic thread connected the medieval Ethiopian empire directly back to the glories of ancient Israel and the kingdom of Aksum. It created a powerful narrative of exceptionalism. Ethiopians saw themselves as a chosen people with a special destiny. This ideology was a powerful weapon. It inspired loyalty and courage in the face of internal division and external threats. The dynasty was the living embodiment of the nation's soul. The Solomonic rulers presided over a period of remarkable cultural and artistic achievement. They built magnificent rock-hewn churches, such as those at Lalibela. These churches were carved directly out of the solid mountain rock, a testament to incredible faith and engineering skill. Monasteries became centers of learning and art. Scribes produced beautiful illuminated manuscripts, preserving religious texts and the history of the nation. This cultural flourishing was not separate from the dynasty's power. It was a direct result of it. The art and architecture reinforced the central themes of the Ethiopian state: divine faith, royal authority, and a sacred history. They were expressions of a confident and independent civilization. This unbroken line of succession, stretching from 1270 until the fall of Emperor Haile Selassie in 1974, is extraordinary. It provided a consistent framework of governance that was unique in Africa. While other regions experienced fragmentation or conquest, Ethiopia maintained a continuous state tradition. The Solomonic dynasty was the political backbone of the nation. It ensured that even in times of crisis, there was a symbol of unity and a legitimate source of authority to rally around. This long-lasting political structure was a crucial element in Ethiopia's ability to resist colonial ambitions. The Europeans were not dealing with a collection of disparate tribes, but with an ancient and organized empire. Ethiopia's independence cannot be fully understood without looking at a map. The country's geography is its natural fortress. The heartland of Ethiopia is a vast plateau of rugged mountains and deep plunging canyons. This is the Ethiopian highlands, often called the roof of Africa. For centuries, this difficult terrain served as a formidable barrier to would-be invaders. Armies that relied on conventional tactics found themselves at a severe disadvantage. Supply lines were difficult to maintain. The steep escarpments and twisting valleys were easy to defend and treacherous to attack. The very land itself seemed to fight for Ethiopia's sovereignty. It was a powerful and ever-present ally. The people of the highlands adapted perfectly to this environment. They built their homes, their churches, and their communities in strategic, defensible locations. They knew the secret paths, the hidden valleys, and the best places for an ambush. This intimate knowledge of the land gave Ethiopian warriors a significant advantage over foreign armies. They could move quickly and surprise their enemies. They could live off the land while invaders struggled to transport supplies. This created a style of warfare based on mobility, surprise, and endurance. The mountains bred a hardy and self-reliant people, accustomed to hardship and fiercely protective of their homeland. They were as rugged as the landscape they inhabited. Furthermore, the highland climate provided a degree of protection from tropical diseases. Maladies like malaria, which devastated European troops in other parts of Africa, were less prevalent in the cooler, high-altitude regions. This allowed the Ethiopian population to remain healthy and strong. It also meant that foreign armies could not easily establish a long-term presence in the country's core. The highlands were not just a physical barrier, but a biological one as well. This natural defense system worked in concert with the nation's political and cultural unity. It gave Ethiopia the time and space it needed to organize its defenses and repel invaders. This geographic isolation also helped to preserve Ethiopia's unique culture. While the country was never completely cut off from the outside world, its mountainous terrain allowed it to develop on its own terms. Its unique form of Christianity, its distinct alphabet, and its social structures were all nurtured in the relative seclusion of the highlands. This isolation was a double-edged sword. It sometimes made internal communication difficult, but its strategic benefit was immense. The mountains were the cradle of Ethiopian civilization. They were also the walls of its fortress, a natural defense that no foreign power could fully breach for a sustained period. By the late 19th century, the world had changed dramatically. European powers, fueled by industrial ambition and national pride, began to carve up the African continent. This period became known as the Scramble for Africa. From Berlin to London, European leaders drew lines on maps, dividing lands they had never seen. They sought resources, new markets, and strategic advantage. One by one, African kingdoms and societies fell under colonial rule. The pressure on Ethiopia was immense. Its long history of independence now faced its greatest challenge. Italy, a newly unified nation eager to build its own empire, set its sights on the Horn of Africa. Italy began its colonial project by establishing a foothold on the Red Sea coast, in what is now Eritrea. From there, they planned to expand inland. They used a combination of treaties, political manipulation, and military force. The Italians believed that Ethiopia, which they saw as a collection of feudal fiefdoms, would be an easy prize. They underestimated the depth of Ethiopian national unity. They also misjudged the political skill of the Ethiopian emperor Menelik II. He was a brilliant strategist and a master diplomat. He spent years consolidating his power, modernizing his army, and acquiring modern weapons from European sources. He was preparing for the inevitable confrontation. A key point of contention was the Treaty of Vucciale, signed in 1889. The treaty had two versions, one in Amharic and one in Italian. The Amharic version stated that the emperor could use the services of the Italian government for foreign relations. The Italian version, however, stated that the emperor was obliged to do so. This difference was no accident. It was a deliberate attempt by Italy to declare a protectorate over Ethiopia. When Menelik II discovered this deception, he was furious. He rejected the treaty outright. He wrote to the European powers declaring, "Ethiopia has need of no one. She stretches out her hands unto God." The stage was set for war. Menelik II's response was not just a diplomatic protest, it was a call to arms for the entire nation. He issued a mobilization proclamation that resonated across the highlands. It called upon every able-bodied man to defend the motherland, the faith, and the emperor. The response was overwhelming. Lords and peasants from every province put aside their regional differences. They marched northward, forming a massive army united by a common purpose. This was not just the emperor's army, it was the Ethiopian nation on the move. They were marching to defend a history of independence that stretched back thousands of years. The ultimate test of their resolve was about to take place. On March 1st, 1896, the Ethiopian and Italian armies met near the town of Adwa in the northern Tigray region. The Italian forces, confident in their superior technology and military training, advanced into a series of interlocking valleys. They were commanded by General Oreste Baratieri, who was, under immense pressure from Rome to deliver a swift and decisive victory. But he underestimated his opponent and the terrain. Emperor Menelik II and his brilliant strategist, Empress Taitu Betul, had gathered a force of around 100,000 soldiers. They were well armed and positioned on the high ground, and they knew the land intimately. They were waiting for the Italians to make a mistake. The battle began in the early morning. The Italian columns, separated and lost in the unfamiliar territory, were unable to support one another. The Ethiopian forces descended upon them with ferocious courage. The fighting was intense and brutal. Ethiopian soldiers and peasant volunteers, armed with both modern rifles and traditional swords, overwhelmed the isolated Italian brigades one by one. Empress Tai too commanded her own reserve force, playing a crucial role in encouraging the troops and securing the victory. By the end of the day, the Italian army was shattered. It was a humiliating and total defeat for the European power. The victory at Adwa was absolute. The news of the Battle of Adwa sent shockwaves across the world. For the first time, a non-European army had decisively defeated a modern European army in a major battle. It was a stunning reversal of the colonial narrative. In Europe, the defeat was a source of profound shock and political turmoil. The Italian government collapsed. For Africans and people of the diaspora, the victory was a powerful symbol of hope and resistance. It proved that colonial domination was not inevitable. It demonstrated that a united African nation could successfully defend its sovereignty against European aggression. Adwa became a rallying cry for anti-colonial movements for decades to come. The victory at Adwa secured Ethiopia's independence for another 40 years. It forced Italy and other European powers to recognize Ethiopia as a sovereign state. Menelik II was hailed as a brilliant leader, and Ethiopia took its place on the world stage with renewed confidence. The battle became a cornerstone of modern Ethiopian identity. It is celebrated every year as a national holiday. It is a source of immense national pride, a reminder that the nation's freedom was defended and won on the battlefield. The victory at Adwa cemented Ethiopia's status as the unyielding fortress of Africa, an unconquered symbol of black pride and self-determination. The humiliation of Adwa lingered in the Italian psyche for decades. With the rise of fascism, Benito Mussolini came to power with dreams of a new Roman Empire. He saw the conquest of Ethiopia as a way to avenge the defeat of 1896 and to project Italian power. In 1935, 40 years after Adwa, Mussolini's forces invaded Ethiopia. This time, the Italians came with overwhelming technological superiority. They used airplanes, tanks, and most horrifically, poison gas. This chemical warfare was a violation of international law. It was used indiscriminately against soldiers and civilians alike. The goal was not just to conquer, but to terrorize the population into submission. The Ethiopian army, now led by Emperor Haile Selassie I, fought with incredible bravery. However, their courage and their rifles were no match for Italy's modern war machine. The capital, Addis Ababa, fell in May 1936. Mussolini triumphantly declared Ethiopia to be a part of the Italian Empire, but the war was far from over. While the emperor went into exile to plead Ethiopia's case before the League of Nations, a fierce resistance movement began within the country. These were the Patriots, or Albanyot. They were ordinary men and women who refused to accept foreign rule. They took to the mountains and forests to wage a guerrilla war against the occupiers. The 5-year period of Italian occupation was a dark time in Ethiopian history. The occupiers ruled with extreme brutality. They carried out massacres, public executions, and imprisonment to break the will of the people. One of the most infamous events was the Graziani massacre in 1937. Following an assassination attempt on the Italian viceroy, Rodolfo Graziani, fascist blackshirts went on a 3-day rampage in Addis Ababa. They killed thousands of innocent men, women, and children. They specifically targeted the educated elite, hoping to destroy the future leadership of the nation. Yet this brutality did not crush the Ethiopian spirit. Instead, it fueled the resistance. The Patriots' struggle was lonely and difficult, but they never gave up. They conducted raids, disrupted supply lines, and kept the flame of Ethiopian independence alive. Their resistance demonstrated the deep roots of Ethiopia's commitment to freedom, even with their emperor in exile and their army defeated on the conventional battlefield. The people themselves continued the fight. This period of occupation and resistance became another defining chapter in the nation's story. It was a testament to the national will, proving that the Ethiopian fortress was not just made of mountains, but of the indomitable spirit of its people. The fight for liberation was a continuation of the legacy of Adwa. Ethiopia's struggle for liberation finally found a powerful ally with the outbreak of World War II. Italy's alliance with Nazi Germany placed it in direct conflict with Great Britain. The British, fighting the Italians in North Africa, saw the Ethiopian patriots as a valuable asset. In 1941, a combined force of British, Commonwealth and Ethiopian troops, including Emperor Haile Selassie himself, launched a campaign to liberate the country. The emperor crossed the border from Sudan and re-entered his homeland, a powerful symbol that the tide was turning. The campaign was swift and successful. The Italian forces, already weakened by the constant Patriot attacks, were defeated. On May 5, 1941, exactly 5 years to the day after the Italians had entered his capital, Emperor Haile Selassie triumphantly returned to Addis Ababa. Ethiopia was free once again. It became the first nation to be liberated from Axis occupation during World War II. This victory was a moment of immense pride. It reaffirmed Ethiopia's status as a sovereign nation. The experience of occupation and liberation had a profound impact on the country. It reinforced the national narrative of resilience and ultimate victory against foreign aggression. It also ushered Ethiopia into the modern era of international politics. The country was a founding member of the United Nations in 1945. The post-liberation era saw Ethiopia under Haile Selassie take on a new and prominent role in global affairs. Having experienced firsthand the failures of the League of Nations to prevent aggression, the emperor became a strong advocate for collective security and international law. He became a respected elder statesman on the world stage. His speeches about international justice and the equality of nations resonated deeply, especially as the wave of decolonization began to sweep across Africa. Ethiopia's own history of successful resistance made it a natural leader and a source of inspiration for newly independent African nations. It had a credibility that no other nation on the continent could match. The legacy of this entire historical arc, from Aksum to Adwa, through occupation to liberation, forged a complex and powerful modern identity. It is an identity rooted in a deep sense of historical pride, religious conviction, and an unwavering belief in self-determination. This history is not just something learned in books, it is a living part of the national consciousness. It explains the fierce independence and occasional stubbornness seen in Ethiopian politics and culture. The collective memory of past struggles and triumphs serves as a constant reminder of the price of freedom. It is the foundation upon which Ethiopia built its modern role as a diplomatic leader and a symbol of African strength. Following its liberation, Ethiopia naturally transitioned into a leadership role on the African continent. Its long and unique history of independence gave it a special moral authority. As other African nations began their struggles for freedom from colonial rule, they looked to Ethiopia as proof that self-governance was possible. Ethiopia was not just an inspiration, it became an active supporter of decolonization movements. Emperor Haile Selassie provided support and a platform for many future African leaders. Addis Ababa became a crossroads for nationalists and freedom fighters from across the continent. It was seen as a safe haven and a center of Pan-African thought. This leadership role was formalized in 1963. Leaders of 32 independent African nations gathered in Addis Ababa. There they founded the Organization of African Unity. It was a momentous occasion. The choice of Addis Ababa as the organization's headquarters was highly symbolic. It was a tribute to Ethiopia's legacy as the continent's uncolonized bastion. The OAU was created to promote unity, solidarity, and cooperation among African states and to eradicate colonialism. Ethiopia was at the very heart of this new chapter in African history. It provided the physical and political space for Africa to begin speaking with a unified voice on the world stage. Through the decades, Ethiopia has remained central to African diplomacy. The OAU later evolved into the African Union in 2002, but its headquarters remain in Addis Ababa. The city is often referred to as the political capital of Africa. It hosts countless summits, conferences, and diplomatic missions focused on African peace, security, and development. This role is a direct continuation of the legacy forged at Adwa and in the resistance against occupation. It is the modern expression of Ethiopia's historical identity as a protector of African sovereignty. The nation that once fought fiercely for its own independence now works to safeguard the collective independence and progress of the entire continent. In conclusion, Ethiopia's journey is a powerful saga of resilience. From the ancient glories of Aksum and the divine right of the Solomonic kings to the strategic brilliance at Adwa and the defiant patriotism during the Italian occupation, its history is one of continuous struggle for self-determination. This unyielding spirit has forged a national psyche of profound pride and independence. It has positioned Ethiopia as a natural leader and a lasting symbol for the African continent. The story of Ethiopia is the story of a fortress built not only of mountains, but of faith, culture, and an unbreakable will to be free. It remains to this day a beacon of hope and an enduring testament to the power of a people to shape their own destiny.